Hey, it's Evan at Style My Ride. Today we're going to be doing a full hood on this Rivian R1S using a satin clear bra. The first step you want to do is wipe down the whole hood. To clean off any dust or dirt that's left behind after washing the car. While you're doing this, you also want to inspect the hood to look for scratches or chips, any dings that need to be fixed before installing the film. Looks good. Second step is to spray it down using your soap solution. Spray down any emblems or creases so all the dirt behind it falls out. Then I'm going to take my big water squeegee and squeegee off the water. And this cleans the panel from any lint or hairs that are resting on it. Just like that. Third step is rinse it off again. You want to get every square inch of the hood wet, so there's no dry spots. Then you want to dry this fender. And then we want to release the first couple inches of the film. Just like that. Stick the film on the fender. It's about like 3 inches, give or take. And then we're going to release it all the way across the hood. You want to keep these corners dry. And we're a little short there, I didn't position it right. I'm going to have to move it over a little bit. So I'm going to get the backside nice and wet, but I'm going to leave this edge dry a couple inches. Just like that. And now I should have enough on this side. Just about. Let's get the bottom side nice and wet. Spray bottle's dying on me. Dry the fender. We're gonna stretch it, stick it to the fender right there. Same thing on this side. Make sure the film's wet. Dry the fender and stick it to it. Like that. Okay. Now we're going to get the front two corners wet. Front half's wet, but leave this section right here dry. Like that. I like folding this corner over. Same thing on this side. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to dry the front bumper, and we're going to stretch it down onto it. Grab the film with both hands and stretch it down. Just like that. Same on this side. Dry the headlight and front bumper. Stretch the film down. Now all four corners are stretched, so you really have no fingers anywhere. Got a little bit here, but that's very minor. Get the top side nice and wet so your squeegee can slide. Like taking my scissors and cutting the excess right here. Do a little bit in the front as well. There we go. All right. Now grab your soap bottle and your alcohol bottle, get it all ready. The top wet. You see how we have this big bubble right here, so we got to swipe this out. So using your hands, swipe the sucker out. Do both on both sides. Sometimes it's hard to get it all out. It keeps on popping it back in. There we go. All right. I like to install these a quarter at a time. Gotta grab our squeegee. Give it a little pull there. Squeegee across. Pressing pretty firm to get all the bubbles out. You want to overlap your strokes. That way you're not leaving any bubbles behind. And it's good to go over these ridges at least twice. Come down here, go like that. So I left some bubbles under the film right there, so we got to go back over that. So just like that. Okay? Now we have a lot of tension here, so we got to put alcohol underneath there and release some of the tension. So lift up the film just a little bit on the sides. Do not lift up this area. Spray alcohol underneath. Squeegee this section back down. Okay. Now I'm going to lift up this corner, but I'm going to keep still some of the tension. Just like that. Squeegee a little bit more down. Put a little more alcohol behind it. Just like that. Squeegee some more. And then release the rest of the tension and squeegee it down. That way there's no tent right there that would create a stretch mark. Just like that. So now we got 1/4 done. I always like to dry it off and inspect it before going on to the next quarter to make sure there's no hairs or dirt behind or any stretch mark lines. It's looking really good. Now I like to do this top quarter. Get nice and wet. Squeegee the water out. Definitely comes in handy having long arms. Go over this ridge at least twice to get all that out. You can see these couple small fingers right there. So that means I need to pull the film this way. I'm going to put a little alcohol underneath there and pull the film. There we go. Same thing on this quarter, so we got to put alcohol underneath it. Squeegee a little bit. Release the tension. Squeegee some more. And then a little more alcohol. Release the tension all the way. Now squeegee the rest out. Just hold it there for a couple seconds. So far it's looking pretty good, except that hiccup at the beginning with releasing the film. Inspect it again. It's looking nice. So I got a lot of tension here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my scissors, cut a little slit like that. Spray some more alcohol, and I should be able to squeegee this down. You can also squeegee it to the fender as well. Just like that. Okay. Now the top half is done, now we got to do the bottom half. Make sure the film's wet again. So your squeegee slides. Swipe out these big bubbles. Now we're going to squeegee and bring it down like halfway. And remember, go over these ridges at least twice. Just like that. Do the same thing on this side. Go over the ridges multiple times. Okay. Now we have a tent around this, so what we need to do is we need to cut a little hole and we need to pull the film down. So using your scissors, carefully cut a hole out. Don't go too far past the emblem. Okay. Now we need to spray our alcohol solution all around the emblem. And see how we have these fingers? We need to pull it down. Just like that. The squeegee around it. Hold that with our hand for a little bit to make sure it's sticking before we release it. Should be good. Okay, now we just got to do these corners. All right, I like to cut a little section here, that way my hand can reach in there. Curve it out. Let's do a little more right here. Now this has been sitting a while, so it's all dry. So we got to shoot alcohol in there and we got to release this edge. See how it's dry right there? Same thing on this side. There we go. Swipe out the big bubbles. Now let's squeegee all the water out. So we got little fingers there, a little more alcohol. we just stretch these out pretty gently. Squeegee that to the fender just so it stays. Okay. Same thing right here. All these bubbles need to come out. Just like that. Let's go ahead and inspect this side before moving on to the other side. It's looking really good. I don't see any hairs or dust or anything. Same thing on this side. Got a little section for my hand to slip in. And spray alcohol behind there. Swipe out the bubbles. Now you can squeegee all this out. Using a good amount of force. Sweet. All right, now dry this side and inspect it. Let's go ahead and inspect the whole entire hood before the film dries to make sure we didn't leave anything behind. It's looking really good. Got a tiny little dust right there. I don't know if you could see it. It's small enough to let it pass. All right, now the next up is we're going to be trimming the top side first. We're going to be wrapping edges, so I like to use my scissors and wrap about 1/4 inch underneath. Just like that. Okay. These corners, you got to use your blade. Use a carbon blade, always test it. Perfect. So we're using the scoring technique, which is the blade scratches against the top of the film. And then when it's off the panel, you can cut through. Just like that. And it should just tear right on that scratch line. I don't like using scissors here because you can scratch the fenders. So if you're good with a blade, it's the safest way. Notch the little corners. And see, I'm not cutting through and it just tears right on there. Awesome. After cutting the edges, you always want to go over it with your paper towel and your squeegee to make sure there's no bubbles like that. You get all the bubbles out on all of the edges. Like that. Okay, same thing on this side. Using my scissors, cut about 1/4 inch using my blade, cut the sides, notch the corner, cut about 1/4 inch from the sides. Just scratching the surface. Notch the corner, and now I'll cut through, and it should just tear. Nice. Just like that. Gotta cut the rest of this. Perfect. Squeegee over the edges one more time. Okay. Now we can do the center section right here. You can cut this. Notch the corner. Wrap in about 1/4 inch. Notch the corner. Now I cut through, and it'll tear right on that line. Okay. So, this corner and that corner in the front, we ain't gonna cut it yet. We gotta let it dry for at least 10-15 minutes before we cut it, because we have a lot of tension going downwards. So we cut it right now, the film will actually pop back up. So I always like to let it dry. So while that's drying, I can cut the center emblem. So what I need to do first is make my hole a little bit bigger. So I do a couple of slits. That's good. Just like that. Hopefully you can see this on the camera. Okay. Squeeze some of that water out. You can remove these emblems if you want to. I'm leaving on this one because there's a good recess that I can wrap into. So carefully scratch the film in that crevice, that recess. Going around the emblem. Do halfway, pick it up with my tweezers, cut it through. It should just tear right on that line. So, and now I gotta do the other half. Just like that. Pick it up, cut it through. Should tear right on that line. Perfect. Squeegee all these bubbles out. Dry it off. You can blow out some of the water. Squeegee one more time. Sweet. So that's pretty much the gist of installing a full hood using satin clear film. I'm going to let this sit for another 15 minutes, then I'm going to cut these front corners, and I'm going to lift the film up, dry the edges, let it sit for a bit, and then I'll use the heat gun to seal the edges. I hope this helped you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.